So this is Dr. Kavita Singh, Associate Professor in Department of Civil Engineering in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So today our topic will be for discussion, Introduction to GIS. So till now in the previous lectures, we have just discussed about remote sensing part, and now we are going to start the GIS part. So what is remote sensing? We have already discussed in the previous lectures. So through remote sensing, we have just gathered the information, we have just collected the information, and that all types of data we have collected. Now how to work with that all kind of data we have to learn, and we have to how to utilize that data into GIS, how to integrate that data into GIS, that we have to understand in coming topics. So today we'll just start with this introduction to GIS. Introduction to GIS is like, the GIS means the full form of the abbreviation of GIS is Geographical Information System. Okay, so Geographical Information System means it gives the geographical information, the geography of the Earth's surface, the topography of the Earth's surface. GIS gives the information of all the geographical features which is located on the Earth's surface, and it's a kind of system. System means it's a setup along with the computer system, along with the hardware and software, along with the data. It gives you the entire information of location and all the information related to it. So that will be given by the GIS. So once we receive all the data from the remote sensing part, GIS will just take all the data, store all the data, display all the data, and give us the useful information to the users or normal person. So before we go through this introduction, so these are few contents we are going to discuss today. So first of all, we should know what is definition of GIS and what is GIS basically, and what GIS application do. Means wherever we apply GIS, what basically it does. So first of all, let us understand what is the definition of GIS. So definition of GIS, as I said, it is the information of entire Earth's surface feature which is collected by the remote sensing process. Like in the previous lectures we have studied remote sensing, right? So remote sensing, what it does, as it captures this Earth's information and gives us in the form of data, right? So this data will be used further for information process in the GIS platform, right? So what is the definition basically? So an organized collection of computer hardware and software. It's an organized collection of computer hardware and software. That means when we talk about GIS, so totally it is called as geographical information system. So what it does, it's a system, geographical information system of computer hardware and software along with the data. Okay, so total setup is required for displaying the data, to manipulate the data, to analyze the data, to store the data. So a system setup is required along with the hardware and software system. So it's an organized collection of software, hardware as well, geographical data and personnel designed to efficiently capture, store, update, manipulate, analyze, display all forms of geographically referenced information is called as GIS. So geographical data is like a data and personal design, and it helps us to personally design or efficiently capture, and it can store, it can update many kinds of information, we can manipulate the data. This is the platform where we can first of all capture the data, we can store the data, as much data we want, we can update at any time, we can manipulate as per our requirement, we can analyze it, and finally we can display all forms of geographically referenced information is called GIS. So GIS provides the mechanisms for undertaking the manipulation and display of geographic knowledge. So this is about like what a geographical information, what is geographic information systems. So geographic relates to the places on the Earth's surface where something is what it what is at given location. So whatever information which is on the Earth's surface, whatever something on the surface or a location, it shows that kind of information in this geographic information system. Now, what is information system? Information system is like manipulation, summarize, query, edit, visualize, work with information stored in the computer databases. Now, if you see to this figure, so this is the entire Earth. This is the entire Earth. So on the Earth's surface, we have many types of information. Like many type of information. Like if you see Google Earth gives you the actual information which is present on the Earth's surface feature. Like it will show you the greenery, it will show you the forest area, it will show you the water bodies, it will show you the road networks, the man-made features as well as natural features which are shown, which are exactly located on the Earth's surface, that GIS will display and gives us the information for the users. So this is the entire Earth surface. So entire Earth surface is collected in the form of satellites. Like it is captured by the satellite. Okay, captured by the satellite, and finally after capturing from the satellite, so later in will be displayed in GIS to get the useful information. Whatever information we want, we can just extract it from the GIS platform. So GIS, when it is working with the system means it should have a software as well, and it should have a hardware where you can just run this all data, process this all data, and get a useful information out of it. Now, how the GIS process works: capture the data as I said through the satellites, then register the base map you have to prepare with the satellite data, then interpret the data. What is interpret? So in the previous lectures when we were studying about remote sensing process, there we have just studied about the interpretation of the visual interpretation or interpretation of the data. Interpretation is just getting the exact or correct information out of that data. So data like map or images, how to just take out the information from the map or the data is called as interpretation. That means how can we read the map, how can we read the image, is interpreting the data. It's like taking out information from image. It's called as interpretation of the data. So we are trying to interpret the entire data to get a useful information out of it. Then later after that, just convert data to a digital format. Then the data is converted to a digital format, then store data in the computer. So just remember one thing: once you're going to work with GIS process or the GIS platform, the entire data should be in the digital format. So in the previous lecture, we have just discussed about the digital data. So what is the digital data? Introduction to digital data, what type of formats we have. So that format you have to convert the entire information to a digital form. Then only you can just work with this data. So what is the digital format? Digital format means the data, the analog data should be converted to the digital form, right? So digital form means the data, entire data should be converted to a pixels, right? So once it is converted to the pixel, that means the data is converted to the digital format. So once the data is converted to the digital format, then further this data is stored in the computer system, the setup where the hardware and the software system is located. So the entire data is stored in the computer system, and then the data is processed. And finally we can just get the display results. So this is how the entire GIS process works on. Now, if you talk about this data layer stacking, so GIS is so much helpful to all the users or all the fields like forestry, water resource, all the resources. Like we can just find out the data in a layers. So layer by layer, we can just remove the information out of a real world. Okay, suppose we have a real world here. Real world means this is the real world. Okay, Earth. This is the real world. So once we capture the entire information, we have all the information in a single map, right? All the information in sense, we have a road here, we have a road network, and we can just say that there are some buildings, there are some forest boundaries here, so water body here. So all the information is entirely in a single map. So what a GIS can do, it can just remove layer wise. Like suppose you have total 4 features here, like we have water body, you have forest boundary, and you can say we have buildings or road network. Okay, so if you want to remove this entire information, so one by one, layer wise, so this will be your layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 and layer 4. So total layer 4, we have removed different layers like this. So these are few layers. So this is the real world. Real world means all the information will be captured together in a single map. Now we have just separated by layer wise. Like here it is shown as NDVI from aerial image, nitrogen availability estimate from aerial photo, pH layer. So there are different layers which are just extracted from the main image. So this is how the layer wise GIS, we can just remove it and we can just stack it. Whenever you want, you can just combine it together. Whenever we want, we can just separate these layers and we can just display the data separately. Like that only, these are all few examples where layer wise water body, we can just, whatever is our requirement, if you want to remove only water bodies, we can just extract the water bodies from the main image and we can just display all the water bodies together in a separate map. So like that, if you want to show only forest boundary, we can just remove the forest boundary from this real world and we can just prepare a single map or layer map for a forest boundary. Like that, we can just prepare for the buildings, we can just prepare for the road networks or any other features, whatever is our requirements. Based on that, we can just prepare the data layers. So these data layers we will just study in detail in the coming topics. So next, these are few more examples, few more definitions. We can define GIS in different ways. Like we have few more definitions, like a special case of information system where the database consists of observations on spatially distributed features, activities or events which are definable in space as point, line or area. So this is a very important part in GIS. We call it as point, line, area. These are the 3 features the entire GIS is working. Okay, entire GIS will be working in this 3 types of features we can see. So further coming topics, every time we'll come across points, line and area. So this area is also known as polygon. Okay. So all the features are converted either in the point, either in the line, either in the area or polygon. So this we'll be discussing in the coming topics. So this, just to understand, it can be definable as in space as point, line and polygon. So entire features on the earth surface can be converted as either points, either lines, either polygon or area. So this is one more type of definition. It's a special case of information system where database consists of observations on spatially distributed features, activities or events which are definable in space, so as points, line and polygon or area. So system manipulates data about these points, lines and areas to retrieve data or data queries and analysis. Now, why to study GIS? Why we want to study GIS? What it gives, what it does. Why we are going to study GIS? So just remember, nowadays GIS is applicable in almost all the fields of environment, like all the fields of forestry, we can say in the government sector, in the water resource, in the forest sector, in the transportation, and finding out any hotspots, finding out any accidents, finding out disaster management, forest fires, natural resources. So there are many fields where the GIS is applicable. So now why we are going to studies, because these are the things we are doing daily in our life. So daily we are just using GIS, but we are not understanding. We are using GIS regularly, daily, every second, every minute. So just for example, I'll tell you, if you want to search our area. So what generally we do, we type in Google Map. Okay. So Google Map is what? Google Map is type of GIS. That is also GIS. So what the Google Map will show you, it will show you the location as well as information, right? Google Map will show you location as well as information. If you want to go from IARE to, let us say, if you want to go from IARE to Secunderabad, okay, Secunderabad. So what we do generally, just we type this location in the Google Map. So what it will show? It will show you the path, right? It will show you the entire path from IIA to Secunderabad, right? So along with the path, it will show you what are the features available here. Okay. So entire information, it will show the information about how many kilometers, where it is located, how much time it will take, how much distance it is, what are the different paths. So that all information it will give. So this is what the GIS is. So it will give you the location information, it will give you the information, it will give you the exact site information as well as the more added information about that particular things, right? So that is called geographical information system. That means it will show you the location as well as what it will give. It will give you the information about the location. So if you want to search IARE college, we just click on the IARE college, right? We'll just type the IARE college. So what the Google will show, it will show you the location as well as the information. So this is so and so building, this is so and so boundaries, this is so and so lake. That all information it shows. So this is how the GIS works. So in our daily life, we are using GIS, right? So why to study GIS? So number one, 80% of the local government activities estimated to be geographically based. As I said before also, almost all of the fields, they use GIS nowadays. So for example, government activities, we can say plot zoning, public works. What is plot zoning? So if you want to just demarcate one area, you want to do plottings. So what we do generally, just we search in Google, we'll take a map along with us and we just come to back to our system, we just try to scan it and we just try to demarcate the area and we just mark the plots. So these are all used by this GIS process. Now, public works. What are the public works? Public works means streets, water supply, sewers. So these all public works are directly linked with GIS to locate, to display, to connect, right? So this all we use it. Next, we garbage collection. Garbage collection, like generally we see in Hyderabad also every morning garbage collection is done from the doorstep, door to door, or community to community. It is done. So how to link that all the garbage collection locations and where to dump, so that all networking is done through GIS, right? So GIS will give you the sites. Suppose this is the area, so it will tell you the sites, that this is the dumping site. So here will be the dumping site. Okay, so dumping site, it will show here, dumping site it will show. So once we see the map of that particular area, we'll get to know that these are the dumping site and these are the areas from where it should be transported and to be dumped over here. So collection points, if you want to see, we can just prepare in GIS. So it will show you the collection points, it will show you the dumping yard, it will show you how much time it takes where to dump it and how much time it will take to travel from one place to another place. That all information is given by the GIS only. Because along with the map, it will give you the entire information. That's what we are saying that every day, every second we are using this. So land ownership and valuation. So, if you want to know which the parcel belongs to which person, what is the parcel number, who owns that land, how much land it is, and how much area it is, which locality it is, where is the exact location, what is the shape of the land, that all information is given by the GIS. Okay. So public safety like fire and police, this all information is located by the GIS. So all the sectors, all the 80% of the government sector will be using GIS regularly. So without GIS, nowadays it's very important that every place we should use GIS so that we can just show the location as well the information to the users, right? Next, if you see, a significant portion of the state government has a geographical component like natural resource management, highways and transportation. Okay, natural resource management, if you want to do what is natural resource, in natural resource we have water, we have forest, right? We have soil, right? So, these are all some examples. So, these all natural resources are, if you want to manage it, how can we manage? So, if you have a GIS platform, if you have the data, and the most important part here is to work with this GIS, we have to collect the data. So, data is given by the remote sensing process only. Okay, so 50%, 60% work is given by the, or we can say that like 50% work is given by the remote sensing, the rest 50% work is done in the GIS process. So if you have this entire information, data is there, then we can just do the resource management. How much area is vacant, how much area is filled with these resources, how much area is spoiled or degraded, that all information is given by the GIS process, because it gives the map information as well as the information about the data along with the software and the hardware process. Okay. Now, highways and transportation, like where the highways to be constructed, how the transportation network looks like, which road goes to which area, how many kilometers it is, that all information is given by the GIS process again. So that's why we need to study GIS. Now, next, coming to this topic, business use GIS for a very wide array of applications like retail site selection. So for the business purpose, if you see, to site selection, we can just consider GIS, or customer analysis we want to do and just use the GIS. Logistics means vehicle tracking and routing every day. The logistics vehicles and tracking and the routing purpose, we use this GIS. So which route has to, which vehicle has to go, which vehicle number has to go, how much time it takes, that all tracking is done by the GIS process only. Natural resource exploration, like if you want to explore the natural resource, petroleum, etc., coal and all, then we have to use the GIS where which place it is located, how much area is covered with that natural resource. That all information is given by the GIS only. Precision agriculture. Now, agriculture also we can just take help of GIS, like we can just demarcate an area on a map and just we can just suggest this much land is required for the agriculture, which type of crop it is, how much yield is to be estimated, how much area is covered with this particular vegetation or agriculture. That all information is given by the GIS process. So these are just information. In the coming topics in detail, we'll be learning how this process works. If you want to know how the area is calculated, how the area is demarcated, how the tracking is done, how the networking is done, that all we are going to study in the coming topics of GIS. Okay. Now, civil engineering and construction works. This is very important part. So, in civil engineering and construction, wherever the construction work goes, first thing what they have to do is site selection. So, site selection is done by the GIS process. So, site selection is done only with the help of the map or the satellite data or the topo sheet data or the aerial photograph. Then further we can just go to that place and find out the soil information, the land information, and then all information is given by the GIS process. Okay. Now, military and defense. So what is military and defense? This is very much important nowadays. Defense people, they are using this GIS nowadays very widely for the battlefield management. So where the soldiers should stay, where they should hide, which place is elevated, which place valley is there, which place water is there, that all management is done by the GIS process only. It can only show you the up and downs of the topography, the weather conditions, the soil conditions, and the area conditions, which type of area it is, where the soldiers can hide and how they can attack on the enemies, and how much area is required. That all information is given by the GIS to the military and the defense people. They widely use this application. Okay, so satellite imagery interpretation. So in the military defense, it is very important to find out the interpretation of the satellite. So they'll capture the satellite information and we'll just get to know the remote areas. They'll get to know the areas where which are unreachable, and they can just find out the location of that area and which area is safer, which area is good for battle and all. That all information is given by the GIS process, and the interpretation can also be done by the satellite imageries with the help of the GIS process. Okay. Now, scientific research employs GIS. Even in the scientific research, the GIS is used, like geography, geology, botany, anthropology, sociology, economics, political science, epidemiology, criminology. This all are the different further research fields the GIS process can be used further. Now coming to the what GIS application do, what it does. So how it works, what can it do? So GIS application can manage, analyze, communicate. So first thing what it does is just it can collect the information, it can manage it, how much data is want to store, it can store it, it can analyze it, and later it can communicate to the people, or it can communicate to the users. Next, make possible the automation of the activities involving the geographic data and the map production. It can do the map production, calculation of the areas. It can just give you the information about the area, how much area is covered with which type of feature, distances, and the route lengths, and all information can be given by the GIS. So measurements of slopes it can do, and aspect, view, shed, logistics, route planning, vehicle tracking, traffic management. This all can be done by the GIS, and nowadays every person, every people in the world, they are utilizing this GIS process. Like everybody, if they want to go from one place to another place, they just use this GIS process only. They use the route tracking, they use the vehicle tracking, and they just use GIS Google Map to see the traffic management too. So GIS will show you the which routes are covered with the high traffic. So it will just divert the routes. It will just help you to find out the best route out of it, and it will help you to manage the tracking. Okay. So next is allow for the integration of data either to confine to independent domains like property maps, air photos. That all it will help us to get to know. Next, it will provide the answers to the spatial queries. Okay. Spatial queries means what is spatial? This we have to understand first. Spatial means the information, like suppose we have a map here. So we have a information like we have a road, we have a road network, we have a building, we have a tree, we have a water body, we have a forest over here. So this all data is called as spatial data. So which we can see around us, this all called as spatial. So it gives us the answers to the spatial queries. Like answers means this is the spatial data which is giving you the, like it is telling you it's a break. So like that the queries it will give you, like how many elderly Richard lives further than 10 minutes at rush hour from ambulance service. That all information if you want. If you just put a query to the software, it will give you the answers once the data is fed to it. Next, perform complex spatial modeling. If you want to do GIS modeling, spatial modeling, what if scenarios for transportation planning, disaster planning, resource management, utilities design, that all will give the information about the data. Okay, so this is information about introduction to GIS. There are some more part which we can just include in the coming lecture we'll be discussing. So just understand GIS is about, in today's lecture you have to understand GIS is about the information of geographical features which are on the Earth's surface, and it's a, if you say about GIS, it's a setup of, it's a collection of, it's a storage of hardware and software where you can store the data, manipulate the data, analyze the data, display the data, visualize the data, update the data. So these all information we can just do it in the GIS platform. Then when you have a data along with the hardware and the software. So that is called as GIS, Geographical Information System. In the coming topics we'll be discussing more about introduction to GIS and part 2. So these are few of the references you can just go through. This remote sensing in GIS by M.N.G. Reddy. This is a book for entire remote sensing in GIS. So whatever information about remote sensing, if you want to know, you can just go through this book. Whatever information if you want to know, you can just go through this GIS process and you can just get to know the more information, and you can just go through this links to get entire more information about it. Now this Tam Chang book will it's very good book for GIS because it will give you the all the information related to the software part, like how the software works, how the data is used, how it is updated, how it is manipulated, how it is analyzed, and the final output, how we get. So entire software information is given in this book, so you can just go through this book for the GIS process. I will suggest you to go through this book and these two books, which are very much important and very good book for the GIS and remote sensing. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.